Hi everyone, I'm Hayley. I'm always in the craft room, and I've got so much to catch you up on this week's Friday Sews. The first of which is this finished item, my gilet. So last I spoke to you on Friday Sews, I was asking for advice on how to finish this. I'm not going to go into loads of detail because I did do a full vlog that has already come out with all of the construction details, but suffice it to say, thank you all for your help, and I love it. I love it so, so much. I can't even tell you. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. That said, gosh, it took a long while. I did Friday Sews about 2 weeks ago and confidently said, oh, I'll be back to show you loads of finished things soon. I mean, insert all the lols here because no, I didn't do a Friday Sews last week because I had nothing to tell you except I'm still working on it. And actually, on that note, unhelpful comment of the week goes not to someone from YouTube for once, but to my dear husband, who walked into the craft room one evening and said, oh, are you still working on that gilet? Would I still be working on the gilet if I weren't still working on the gilet? Oh, I had to take a lot of deep breaths, let me tell you, because yes, I was bored of this project too. But anyway, it's done now. I'm absolutely thrilled. And it's perfect for these chilly evenings in the craft room because the clocks have gone back now, as you can probably tell from this harsh lighting. And I'm not sure how much wear I'm going to get out of this before spring, but I'm just so thrilled it's done. Anyway, once I finish a big project, the craft room is always in an absolute state. You can probably tell from looking behind me, it's still in disarray, but behind the camera was even worse. There was just bits of bias binding I'd chopped off, strewn on the floor, and I'd been like rooting for a bobbin and just chucked everything everywhere. It was an absolute mess. So mainly what I've been doing this week is tidying up, and in doing that, of course, I came across a few projects that just needed to be finished, two of which are these scrunchies. So I found these languishing 80% done. The way I make a scrunchie is take a rectangle of fabric, fold it in half right sides together, stitch one edge, turn it out into a long tube, and then that's the point I'd got to. All I had left to do was feed a piece of elastic through, tuck one end in the other, and sew it closed. How long do you think these had sat in the craft room unfinished? A couple of weeks would be silly, wouldn't it, when it was only one row of stitching? A couple of months would be ridiculous. Well, I cut these out and got them 80% of the way there when I made this dress. And I know full well that I wore this dress to a party in 2022. So for 2 whole years, these have been hanging around the craft room. And the reason I wasn't doing it was because I was waiting until my machine was threaded in this colour. I don't know if you can see accurately what colour this is, but it's kind of a deep goldy mustard colour. And let's be honest, my machine is never going to be threaded in this again. This fabric was a real one-off for me. I love it. I wear the dress every chance I get, but it's not a fabric that colour that I've got in my stash. So in the end, I just thought, you know what? Do the row of stitching in black. Who is ever going to notice when these are scrunched in my hair? Nobody. So they are done. I will be very pleased to have those in my arsenal because I do find a scrunchie super comfy. So I'm dead pleased to have those done. The next thing I worked on was the dressing gown for my dad's Christmas present. So I mentioned this in my Christmas plans video, that I was going to make him a dressing gown out of some sarong fabric, which my parents actually bought for me on a trip to Malaysia. But I was really short of fabric. I mean, different day, same story, eh? But this sarong fabric was actually in a loop. So it was handy because it meant I had to fold down each side to cut out all the pieces, but I was so short of fabric, seriously. I actually had to reduce the seam allowances, which actually doesn't matter because they were 1.5 centimetres anyway, so I will find it easier to whiz through the overlocker with the smaller seam allowance. But there's another but. I've never done this before. This is the first time I've ever made this schoolboy error I didn't pre-wash the fabric. Tell me it's going to be okay. From the feel of it, I'd say it is a poly cotton. It doesn't feel like 100% cotton to me. Maybe that will be my saving grace. I don't know. Oh, whenever I buy new fabrics, the first thing I do is wash them. I don't allow them into the stash until they are washed, because when I get the hankering to make a project, I just want to make it now. I can have a fabric in the stash for 10 years. I'm looking at you, a Linton tweed. And then the day I'm like, oh, I'm ready to cut that out, I'm ready to cut it out. I can't be waiting for the washing machine. And I certainly can't be waiting for it to dry, because I hang everything to dry. So we're talking 24-hour lag time. I mean, by the time we've done that, I've lost all interest. So I always wash it before I stash it. And I think it's because this was a gift. And I was just like, oh, and I just put it in the craft room. And then I don't know. I'm so annoyed with myself. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do, I thought about overlocking each cut edge, washing it, seeing if it shrinks, like comparing it to the pattern pieces, and then deciding where to go from there. But honestly, I just think they're going to get kind of raggedy and annoying. I'm just going to make it up as it is. And if it shrinks, maybe it'll fit me, I think. Anyway, oh, I'm so annoyed. I cut that out, realised the error of my ways, and then moved on to cutting something else out for me, which is Vogue 8584 cargo pants. So if you watch my autumn plans video, I said that I really fancied a pair of cargo pants, but they were like literally bottom of the list. However, that was before the weather changed and I started trying to dress for autumn, and I realised I have 2 pairs of cropped ready-to-wear jeans, one pair of ready-to-wear jeans that I have to wear heels with because they're too long, and that is it for like bottoms, apart from jogging bottoms. I have 0 woven trousers suitable for this time of year. I've got linen ones and viscose, kind of floaty summer weight trousers, but I have nothing for the season ahead. I would really like to get a wool or wool blend, because I do find wool itchy, kind of flannelly type suiting to make a nice pair of wide leg trousers for autumn. I think they would be so useful for autumn and winter, to be honest. As it is, all I had in the stash was quite a thick lyocell twill. So I don't think it's winter weight, but I think it'll be all right in autumn. So I've cut out the Vogue 8584 trousers, and well, I had 2 meters of this navy fabric. And when I cut the pattern out, I cut out a straight size 14, which was according to my hip measurement. The waist is elasticated, so I thought we didn't need to be quite so specific there. And I compared the pattern pieces to the woven trousers I made this summer, a pair of linen trousers from a very much adapted swim style Carla loungewear pant with the new look 6035 waistband on top. And when I laid the pattern pieces one on top of the other, honestly, they were almost exact. The crotch curve, the rise height, it was like kind of freaky. Anyway, the back pattern piece was way much bigger. And I do think I'm a size bigger on the front of me than I am on the back of me, because I don't have much of a bottom. So I folded out 1 centimetre top to bottom on the double, so 2 centimetres effectively out of the back pattern piece, compared them to my other trousers that fit, and I was like, yeah, that looks right. Then I laid the pattern pieces on the fabric, and I realised that with a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance, I couldn't fit them next to each other on the fold. So I would have to do them like one and then one. So this 15mm seam allowance, it seems like it's not wasting a lot of fabric, but it could actually waste a metre of fabric because I have to move the whole thing down. So anyway, what I did was I reduced the seam allowances all over so that I could fit them next to each other, and I cut them out, and then I realised I was not having a good day, clearly. that the other trousers had a side zip and these were elastic waist trousers. So the fact that they're really similar is actually not a good thing, because one needs enough ease to be pulled up over my hips and one has a zip. And now I've reduced the seam allowances at the side seams and the inner leg seam. So I don't know. I might need to add a zip basically, but I might not. I don't know. Twill can have a bit of kind of mechanical give, can't it? Anyway, I probably just shouldn't have been cutting out after work, but I was. So that's two things I cut out, two potential cutting errors made. And then I was looking at what I had left, and I had a remnant of this navy blue twill. And I thought, oh, the only thing I can really make out of that is a top with grown on sleeves. Like I need something that takes barely any fabric. And I immediately thought of the Marilla Walker Mayer top. Well, a cautionary tale, I have made that top before in a viscose twill in a sage green colour. And I remember making it up. And I walked over to my husband and I said, oops, I think I've made like a hospital scrubs top. That is honestly what it looked like, especially in the sage green colour. And with that one, I came back to the craft room and I thought, how can I jazz this up and make it look not hospital-y? So I added a top pocket. I thought, oh, a patch pocket, bit of detail, that'll look better. And I went back to show my husband and he was like, oh, that a pocket for your pen, doctor? And I was like, oh my God, I've made it even worse. Anyway, that particular top got refashioned into something completely different. But I have learnt my lesson on that one. And I'm not going to make a Marilla Walker Mayer scrub top. So I was like, what can I make from it? And then serendipitously, I thought, oh, I need a contrast fabric for Dad's dressing gown to make the neckband, the pocket bands, the sleeve bands. And here I have a remnant of navy. So yeah, it was an evening of some wins and some losses, because maybe the dressing gown would be too small, but at least I found a lovely contrast fabric. And I'm so pleased the remnants of that twill are not going back into the stash. They're done, they're used up. And as I say, if the whole thing shrinks, yeah, oh well, not much I can do about it now. If you do have any tips, please feel free to leave them below. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'm cross with myself. So that's about all I got done, apart from tidying up and just getting a bit more organised. In that same video where I was talking about my Christmas plans, I did show you an advent calendar I'd made where I had no method of hanging it up, and one of my lovely commenters has shown me how to do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week. I found a remnant of fabric which kind of matches. So I've got the advent calendar here, and the back is just a red cotton. The closest thing I could find in the stash was this red crepe, and the way it has been suggested to do it is so clever, is to make some little corner pockets to tuck a dowel in. I'm not explaining that very well, but my wonderful commenter explained it really clearly and also went to the trouble of linking a YouTube video for me. So I now know exactly what to do for that, and I will get that done this week. And then I'd really like to move on to sewing up these Vogue trousers, because I am intrigued to see whether they fit. And also, as I say, I could really use them in my wardrobe. So that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.